Welcome to the Jupiter Joe Money Show. I'm Jenny Thomas, your co-host.
And I'm Joe Thomas, the other co-host.
Today's show is the biggest mistake of a lifetime.
That's right.
What are we talking about today?
So I want to talk about something. For anybody out there that is lucky enough to have a pension plan, maybe you work for a large company, maybe you work for the county or the state, and you're given a pension plan, thrift savings plan, whatever it may be called, some kind of a pension plan. You're given a choice, and your choice is to leave your spouse money or not leave your spouse money. And by not leaving your spouse money, you are making the biggest mistake of a lifetime. So for those wives and husbands out there, and their spouse has a pension, and they're going to make a decision as whether to take the full benefit or a partial benefit and leave you some money if they die, don't let that person make that mistake for you. And what I mean by that is you have to sign off on this legally. You just did a case.
With a notarized.
It has to be notarized, and it has to say that you as a spouse agree to making that decision because it's irrevocable. Anything that's irrevocable is not good unless you want it to be irrevocable. Irrevocable means there's no do-overs. There's no changes. You cannot change this decision once you make it. It is the largest financial mistake any one person can make regarding the pension option you choose. And what prompted this was, this happens all the time. Here's an email we got from somebody, a couple of years ago. My husband just retired, and now we need to make a financial decision on which pension option we should take. He can take a higher monthly check, which will stop upon his death, or we can go to the survivor benefit route, and he can take a reduced amount, about $500 less a month, so I can continue receiving payments should my husband die first. So people know about this, but every day they make the wrong decision. So it prompted, I had somebody on the phone with me, and they said, I'm going to leave my spouse nothing. I'm going to take the higher amount. And I said, why would you do that? There are choices you can make. If you're allowed to roll over your pension into a lump sum, you are better off doing it. But never disinherit your spouse because you need the extra money. Let me put this in perspective. If your pension plan is $5,000 a month per month, you're going to get when you retire and you leave your spouse nothing, okay, versus getting $4,500 a month and then she gets 75% of the benefit. That's a better option, okay? But when you take the larger amount, you die the next day, the money is gone. You live 24 hours and you've made that election to leave your wife nothing or your husband nothing, the money is gone. Also, with a pension plan, most likely you're going to disinherit your kids. If you both die at the same time, highly, highly unlikely, but if you do, and when you do, because somebody's going to die first, somebody's going to die second, the benefit is nothing to your kids in most pensions. In fact, I don't even know any pensions that leave it to the family members.
Mm-hmm. So this is a big decision for people out there. And if you're just listening, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
This is the Jupiter Joe Money Show. We come to you each and every week on Wednesday and Thursdays at 6 p.m. and also on Saturday mornings at 7:30. Mm-hmm. And Jupiter Joe, he's a retirement advisor. You've been doing it a very long time. Mm-hmm. And we do this show to help people out there. And I think the pension is one of the biggest questions we do get. Mm-hmm. And so when people get this paper, the paperwork from the pension, they have to make a decision. They're required to.
They have to make a decision. You don't have a choice. Here's what I will tell anybody. If you have a lump sum option, if you have the option where it says, you can take this option for income, fine. But it might say on your lump sum option. Mm-hmm. That's the option you want. Why am I talking about this? Because number one, you don't give up control of your money. You still have the lump sum. You still control it. If you pass away, the person who's the pension person, the person who has the pension, if they pass away, that benefit can go to your spouse now, either in lump sum or income. If you make the wrong decision with a pension plan, it's gone. It's gone. So understand that by having a rollover, a lump sum rollover, that is the best decision you can make in most cases. Now, if you're worried about, this is going to pay me $150 more a month if I go with the company that they worked for, which is an insurance company. That's who the pension is issued through. It's an annuity, by the way. Let's get that straight. They're not in your favor. You're always better off having a lump sum benefit that you have control of your principal. You have control of who your beneficiary is going to be now and later. Okay. You don't disinherit your spouse and you don't disinherit your kids. And there are more benefits, such as the income doubler. Okay. Not only will you get an income for both you and your spouse, it's the same amount, 100% the same amount for each person, no matter who passes away first. But if you get sick and you can't perform 2 of your daily activities, they're going to double your income. So it's a much more beneficial way to go when you can do the lump sum versus taking one option.
Do you think a lot of people who see lump sum, they think that they're going to be paying the taxes?
Oh, yeah. I hear it all the time. And I go, no, you're not going to pay a dime. It's a rollover. It's an asset-to-asset rollover. You're not going to pay a dime in taxes. We're going to roll it over for you that the government allows you to do. It doesn't matter if the amount's $4 or $4 million. Whatever amount we roll over to an annuity is going to be tax-free rollover for you. Now, you will pay taxes eventually, whether it's there or here. But the point is now you control your money and you have access to your money. Once you elect that pension option, it's irrevocable. You can't change it. You can't access principal. If you get sick, you can't access it. If you die and you elected to have your spouse get money, that's the only way it's going to happen, is they'll continue to get funds, whatever you elect it. There are also many things you can do if you can't roll over the pension as a lump sum. So if your company or state, says, municipality says, you can't take a lump sum, we have other options that you can do where you don't disinherit your spouse, but you have to know about them and you have to know these techniques. I've been studying this stuff since the 90s. We've been doing this for clients. It doesn't come by every day. We do maybe 1 or 2 of these a year. But I want to bring it to somebody's attention because it can be the biggest mistake of a lifetime. Seriously, I don't think there's any other big mistake. There are mistakes, but this tops the chart here,
Yeah. So you're saying if you've worked decades at your job, you have a pension, they tell you what the defined monthly income's going to be.
Yep.
But if you die, your spouse gets nothing.
Zero.
How is that possible?
It is. And, people just have to understand this. I had this gentleman on the phone the other day and I was trying to explain to him, don't take that option, leave your spouse something. If it's the lowest amount, leave something, but don't make the decision, well, I'm going to live a long life. How do you know that? You don't know that. And not that, in this specific instance, I was talking to this gentleman and I showed him the numbers. I said, look, if you're going to get $5,000 a month, let's just round it off, $5,000 a month. And that's the max number. Or he can get $4,500 a month and leave his wife, say 50%. He says, no, I want to get the $5,000 a month. And I said, well, do you know over 30 years, that's $60,000 a year times 30 years is $1,800,000 that if you die tomorrow, your wife loses.
Wow.
He goes, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, how do you make that decision for somebody you've been married to for 30 years?
I would be really mad.
Well, you wonder why divorces end up with money. It's number one reason people get divorces over money, and rightfully so. I mean, my wife deserved everything from me with all the stuff she's put up with me over the years. If you can live with me for that long, thank you, Jenny, for 30 years. I mean, you deserve the money, but this is just, now I know I had a pension that I had to take. I didn't have a choice because I worked for John Hancock for a number of years. And then because of my age and the amount of money that was there and how long I had it, I had to take a decision. And my decision was to leave Lynn, my wife, the full pension. So I got 100% and she got 100% of the payments. But not everybody makes that decision. Some people make the wrong. I could have gotten more income per month and disinherit her. If I die the next day, the money's gone. I just want to emphasize to you, this can be the biggest mistake of a lifetime, making this decision. So today I want to talk about it. Explain to you, if you work for FP&L, Nextera, Sikorsky, Cheney Brothers, a hospital, a doctor's office, a country club. Some country clubs have this, a state or government employer, or anybody. We just had a client that came in, she didn't even know she had a pension plan.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
And we rolled it over. You need to know your options with this so you don't make the biggest mistake of a lifetime. Give us a call. Give me a call personally and say, hey, Joe, here's my options. fax me the sheet, email me the sheet, and I'll be able to review it in 5 minutes and tell you what you can and can't do with that pension. Now, if I don't know the answers, we're going to get on the phone with the plan administrator, and we're going to see what options you do have. And a lump sum is what you want. You want to do a lump sum rollover so you don't pay tax and that you have control of your money. You know, the golden rule, Jenny, remember I told you this the other day? The golden rule is the people who have the gold make the rules. Okay? So your company who has your pension plan, they're making rules, golden rules about your money. Okay? So you need to control your own money at all times.
Good advice.
Yeah.
If you're listening, go to jupiterjoe.com. Give us a call here at the office in Jupiter, 561-743-0999.
Yep. So I've done this show probably 2 or 3 times over the last 5 or 10 years. And I think, I want to explain to people how it works generally speaking. Here's how the income options generally work on a pension. So they give you what they call a single life option, which is for one person, you, and they leave your wife nothing. So in this example, it's $3,000 a month. You get a lifetime payout for $3,000 a month. If you want to leave your wife 100% of the same money, instead of $3,000, you're going to get $2,250.
Okay.
You'll get $2,250 a month. She'll get $2,250 a month, or your husband will. Or you could leave 75% to your spouse, and maybe you get $2,000, or you get 50%. So these options are the ones that I'm talking about, but you never want to take the single life option. Now, if you're not married, you're getting divorced, something along those lines, maybe you make that decision. Maybe that's the decision you make. But in general, in 90% of the clients out there, they need to not make the single life decision. And, I'm kind of jacked up on this today because it's so imperative for you to understand these options, and they're not easy. They're not easy. Look, I've been doing this my whole life, and every annuity has these options in it. You can annuitize an annuity, and you can take a lifetime payout, a joint life payout, a joint and survivor life payout, a 50%, 100%. You can do it for a limited period of time. This is an annuity option. It's not necessarily a pension is an annuity. And those options have to be chosen correctly. One mistake and you lose the money, Yeah,
exactly. And what's crazy is that you have to make this decision. And we get a lot of calls and we get a lot of people coming in. They're not sure which one to pick. And that's why they come to us, is because they're like, what do I do? What are my best options?
I'm hoping more people come to us after the show, because I honestly, I want to help people make that right decision. Even if you don't have a lump sum option, let's put my cards on the table. You don't have a lump sum option. There are still ways to protect your wife or your husband by taking a life insurance policy out. We do very few life insurance. When's the last time we did a life insurance policy? You can never remember one, right? I don't even remember one. But you can take a life insurance policy out to insure yourself the difference between what you'd be leaving your spouse to cover the loss you would have if you do take the full pension amount. So it's called pension maximization. I know all about this. I've done it for years and years. I don't like doing it because most people don't like to hear about life insurance, right? Oh, life insurance, no good. Well, it works in this instance if you don't have a lump sum, if you want to do the lump sum and maximize your pension options, okay? And we're talking about a lot of terms here, but it's really all about money. It's take the higher amount or don't take the higher amount and leave your spouse some money. But once you make that decision, it's over. You're not going to change this. You're not going to go by and say, you know what? I want to do over. I want to phone a friend. That's not going to happen,
Well, especially if something does happen unexpectedly and you don't get that mailbox money coming in, where you're only relying now on Social Security. You might have to sell your home.
Yeah.
It's instant repercussions.
Yeah, the repercussions are unbelievable. What can happen if you do make this decision. I mean, you've lived your whole life. Look, you've worked 30 years at your job. You've been married for 30 years. Now you're going to disinherit your spouse because Charlie in accounting made this decision. Honestly, people will make decisions based on what other people did in their office. Well, Charlie over there, he took the full option. He didn't die. He was fine. He's getting the biggest check and he's happy. Baloney. You can't make that decision based on what somebody else did. You have to make that decision what's best for you and your spouse. And I'm telling you with this, you need to really think about the options and if you have the lump sum option, it's pretty simple. We roll it over to another annuity. Your pension is an annuity. You're rolling from one annuity to another annuity, no tax. And then we're going to turn that into an income stream that pays you and your spouse no matter what. And if you both die, the balance of whatever's left goes to your kids. Right?
So you're never disinheriting anyone.
No. And there's an income doubler should that arise. You don't have any income doubler with a pension plan. You don't have any money going to your kids. I mean, let's talk about things. This is why people don't understand annuities, because they don't know how they work, so therefore they're bad. No, that's not it. You have to understand how they work, because if you have a pension plan, you have an annuity.
Right.
You're not calling it, my pension plan. Your pension plan is an annuity. It's issued by an insurance company. Years ago, I used to do a lot of business with people up north in New Jersey and New York. And they would tell me, I would talk about annuities with them, and they'd say, "Oh, I don't want an annuity. They're horrible." And I go, "Really?" I go, "You're retired?" "Oh yeah, I retired." I go, "Who'd you retire from?" "Oh, General Motors," or whoever it was, big companies, big financial companies, all kinds of companies. And I'd go to them and say, This is before direct deposits. People used to actually get a check stub. And I'd say, "Do me a favor, you get a pension check?" "Oh yeah, every month." I go, "Really? Can you do me a favor? Bring it in here." And they'd bring in the stub. And it said John Hancock on it. It said Prudential on it. It said whatever insurance company. I say, "You have an annuity." They go, "No, I don't. That's a pension." I go, "No, that's an annuity. It's issued by an insurance company. Only an insurance company can issue an annuity and a pension." Okay, now unless it's a company's doing it themselves, like they have enough money to do a pension plan. Some do, but most companies are using insurance companies to do it. They're not self-funding,
So choosing the wrong pension choice is the biggest mistake of a lifetime.
I think so, hands down.
So it's important to get somebody who knows this stuff, and Jupiter Joe is the person who does know this stuff. So go to jupiterjoe.com, book a free appointment, or give us a call, 561-743-0999.
Right. I think, this lady, it was actually a woman who had wrote me this email, about the question about whether the husband and wife should take the full amount. And of course, I said, don't take the full amount. If you're able to roll over your money, do it. In fact, this lady actually said in here, a lifetime pension could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in benefits. That's the thing. You're not giving away. It's not the $500 a month you're losing. It's the total amount that you're losing. If your wife's if you're going to get $4,500 instead of $5,000, you only get, I'm giving up $500 a month. No, you're giving up $5,000 a month if that person passes away.
Right.
It's not the $500 a month. You're betting you're going to live. You want to talk about high stakes gambling? This is high stakes gambling. This guy that I was talking to the other day, and I've had this conversation many times. This isn't one person. "Oh, I'm not worried about it." Sure, you're not worried about it. Your wife's going to worry about it, or your husband's
going to be upset too.
And let's face it, most of the time it's a woman. It's not a man that's getting the benefits. We're talking about a spousal inheritance. It's usually a woman, right? 90% of the time. Once in a while, it's a man that's getting it, but most of the time it's a woman. How do you disinherit your wife after 30 years? Would you like that?
No.
Yeah. So, this is the kind of stuff that we do for clients. It's not just, hey, Joe sells annuities. This has nothing to do with annuities. This is numbers. Look at the amount of money you're giving up by making the wrong decision. You're not only disinheriting your spouse, most likely your wife, but you're disinheriting your kids as well. If you both die, the money's gone, how do you work your whole life, build up $1 million pension, and then in one decision, one signature, you have given up that $1 million forever if you die? It's disgusting. But, people make that decision every day because they're not aware of it. And I'm driving this home because I want people to understand, if you have a pension option and you're going to retire in 6 to 12 months, this is the toughest decision you'll ever make in your lifetime. There's no bigger I'm going to tell you right now, this isn't like buying a car. You buy a car and you go in and you overpay for the car. Okay, maybe you overpaid for the car $5,000. Who cares? You're talking about $500,000 or $1 million you're giving up in future income if you make the wrong decision.
Big deal.
It's a big deal. Super big deal,
Well, especially if you've worked this long. I just don't think people realize that it's such a big decision.
The toughest decision you're ever going to make in your life. There's no decision bigger. Now, top executives have a package plan. I'm not talking here about large CEO guys, right? They have a legal department. They have advisors. I'm talking about the average Joe, okay, who has to make a decision and they give them usually 30 days. They'll literally say, right now, FP&L, Nextera, they're laying off people right now. They're getting rid of some, you heard about this, right? They're laying off more and more of their older, I'll use the word older, people with experience there that have been there 25, 30 years. They're getting rid of them, right? And they're giving them a pension option. And it's up to you whether you make the right decision or not. You call their pension department. Most likely it's a kid 30 years of age helping you figure out how to fill out a form. Oh yeah, just pick whatever one you want. No problem. Oh yeah, the big one. Yeah, take the big number. That's what everybody does. I mean, this is the mentality of this stuff. I mean, you're talking about a mistake that could cost you and your you won't be there, your wife, your spouse, $500,000 or $1 million. I mean, it is laughable. It is laughable to make a decision like that, but people do it every day. So I'm here today, look, I don't have to talk about pensions. We could talk about anything. But specifically today, I want to talk about the biggest decision, the toughest decision you'll ever make in your life, and not to make it, how to avoid it. The way to avoid it is knowing how to make it work better, right?
Exactly.
If I tell you, if you come into my transmission shop and I tell you, hey, you know what, Jenny, you blew your transmission. You go, okay, I'm going to fix it, right? How much is it? $3,000. Okay. You pay $3,000, you're out of there and you're done. This is something that's going to affect you and your family, your spouse and your kids for the rest of your life. If you would disinherit your wife, think about her livelihood. She's going to go from, you're getting $5,000 a month for 12 months and you pass away, right? Look, I've had friends, I've had clients over the years die in very shortly, right? Pancreatic cancer. I had a friend of mine in his 30s passed away. 3 months, young wife. So here you are, you finally retire and your spouse is going to get nothing. Your kids are going to get nothing just because Charlie in accounting picked this option. Don't let that happen to you. That's simple.
And there's better options out there.
There are better options.
You have to know what they are.
There are better options, and we're going to discuss them with you. We're going to show you. We're going to look at first of all, here's how an interview goes. We're going to say, give us your paperwork. Let us see the paperwork that you have from the company. It's going to be laid out. It's going to show you option 1, 2, 3, 4, and it might have a lump sum option. If it does have a lump sum option, you need to call Jupiter Joe. Hey, how does this work, Joe? How can we make it better than what they've got? I'll tell you right now, I'm going to make it better in a heartbeat. Number one, you're going to have access to your principal.
You don't have that. With
you have zero. You cannot, if you have an emergency, you cannot borrow a nickel from the pension plan. You're going to get a monthly check.
Oh my God.
That's it. You probably can't even change it to annual. If you want your annual distribution, you can't even do that. Your wife will be disinherited. Your kids will be disinherited. There is no provision for illness. You get sick, you're dying of cancer. There's nothing. Okay. You're in a long-term care situation. There's nothing. With us, you have all of those things. Not only are we going to cover your spouse, cover your kids, and we're going to take care of you if you get sick with an income doubler. This is a day and night situation here. It's the opposite,
So if you get sick, you can't even pull out some of your money.
Zero.
To help with that.
When I use the word irrevocable, it's a legal term. It means you cannot change it. You can't do anything except get a payment. And by you disinheriting your spouse, it's criminal. I think, they changed the law, by the way. A lot of guys years ago, we were doing pensions years and years ago, and a lot of men that were working, they would literally sign their wife's name, take the higher amount, because they knew they were disinheriting their spouse. Now today they made it a law that the spouse who's getting disinherited has to sign off.
Yeah.
In front of a notary. Has to be notarized.
Still,
Why do you think they did that? Because it's important. Pretty freaking important.
To know what you're signing and what you're going to get or not get.
Exactly. I mean, I can't tell you how important this show is for anybody out there that has a pension plan, or for that matter, even a 401k. You can make the same decisions with a 401k and make mistakes with those as well, but specifically we're talking today about the pension plan. I think we did a good show. I think I covered it enough to understand that you don't want to just haphazardly make a decision about your choice that you make for your pension option. If you have a lump sum option, there's going to be more benefits for you.
Don't make the mistake of a lifetime. Give Jupiter Joe a call. Let him help you with your pension options and making sure that you choose the best option for you and your spouse and your kids.
That's right.
Go to jupiterjoe.com. Give us a call, 561-743-0999.